Professor Massimo Franchi, who is a Senior Research Fellow, Department of Law, University of Modena at Reggio, Emilia. Professor Massimo is strategist consultant for multinational organizations. At the University of Parma, he is a member of Laboratory of Market Law and New Technologies, and was a junior and senior research fellow, witness, and adjunct professor in the supplementary course of political risk in the FRIM master's degree. At University of Calabria, he is an adjunct professor at the level 2 master in intelligence and a member of intelligence lab. At the University of Modena and Reggio, Emilia, he is a senior research fellow in the Department of Law. He is an adjunct professor at the ITS Tech and Food Foundation, lecturer for international military and economic policy, police organizations. He is enrolled in the SNA didactic register at the PCM for public management and digital innovation. He is director of Winter School of Geopolitics, broadcast on Stroncature. He is the author of the book Reflections on Responsible Management and co-author of the book Economic Warfare and Foreign Direct Investment and Economic Intelligence. Now, may I request Professor Massimo to deliver his talk. I have already make you a co-host, so you can share your PPT.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Perfect. Good afternoon, Professor, and good afternoon to all participants. Thanks for the invite. I'm honored to be here today in this platform. My perspective is on the social impact of social responsibility and how investors can benefit from it. I'm currently researching a panel of 100 Italian companies to understand how CSR is perceived and applied. I will have the result at the end of the year. But today I'm going to talk about some considerations from the research. And this is my agenda. And today there is an urgent collective call for businesses to improve the state of the world and reestablish a sense of community. In particular, businesses are expected and required to address huge societal issues such as climate change, poverty, and inequalities. Global initiatives such as the Davos 2020 Manifesto, the European Green Deal, the Business Roundtable Declaration, the European 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and the Laudato Si encyclical letter with the Economy of Francesco initiative, all point in one direction. Company can and must have a real impact in changing the world for better. CSR. We start from the assumption that we have studied Anglo-American managerial method in the West. Everything is oriented toward the objective and the return of investment. Moreover, does corporate social responsibility entail economic and financial loss, or does it guarantee competitive advantage? To answer this question, many studies have aimed to establish largely in sample for multiple industry, the relationship between the social performance, corporate social performance, CSP, and the corporate financial performance, CFP. These studies has produced the conflicting result, and any attempt to give a generalized and coherent conclusion has proved inadequate. In the West, the outline of corporate social responsibility, starting from the experience of the social and sustainability balance sheet, has put the issue of ethics in the economy and the why of being ethical back at the center in recent years. In this slide, look, you can see the European companies. We have 4 class size: micro, small, medium, and large company. Most companies have long practiced some form of corporate social and environmental responsibility, with the broad goal simply of contributing to the well-being of communities and society they affect and on which they depend. Large multinational companies are a small minority of the European landscape. However, they produce most of the added value. You can see more or less 50% of the total. Instead, small and medium-sized businesses comprise 99% of the market and are of fundamental importance. These are family businesses directed by the entrepreneur. In Italy, this type of business is a vital part of our culture and of our society, for example. We have 2 different capital, patience capital and impatience capital. What is patience capital? It is the capitalism of family businesses led by an entrepreneur or his family, be they industrial, artisanal, agricultural, or commercial, that represent a patient capital not interested in maximizing profit in the short term, typically of utilitarian ethics, but to a prospect of survival of the company over time. Patience capital requires a bond between the entrepreneur and his people, community, and territory. It is an emotional bond for which he is willing to wait for better time. This trend has been expressed over time in 3 different moral visions that have contributed to the development of modern CSR, in which the stakeholder model then found as its basis the Weberian ethics of responsibility. Firstly, business case or one bottom line logic. Then we have Kantian logic and the social contract. The open debate is whether CSR and its respective managerial practices could be considered a strength for company and advantages for shareholder, or just as means to increase the individual prestige of current manager. The first trend of a neoclassical nature and linked into the business case or the one bottom line logic indicate economic success and increase the profit as the main reason for being ethical, provoking situation of opportunism and CSR linked mainly to marketing issues. In this context, Nobel Prize winner Friedman identified the existence of only one corporate responsibility: increasing profit. This focus on the business case and objective remained dominant in the managerial mentality, linked to shareholder value. I do not like this vision, which is focused only on profit, because, in my opinion, is too short-term oriented. Kantian logic. The second vision, according Freeman and Even, is based on Kantian logic, on satisfying the personal interest of those who are part of the company. The two authors included in the concept of stakeholder, remember stakeholder from to stake, all those who can influence or are influenced by the company, including passive stakeholders. The moral foundation of this vision consists in the principle of respect for people who are ends and not means to other ends. Then we have social contract. The third vision instead proposed the idea, according Sacconi, Professor Sacconi, of the social contract between all stakeholders and shifted the focus to negotiation between the various stakeholders and compliance with contractual obligation. What is the correlation between CSP and CFP? In the financial industry, CSP was measured using the ethical rating, calculated by different agencies, which could constitute a useful precedent for future research. Recent research has confirmed that companies that care about their stakeholder while monitoring their externalities benefit from their commitment as ethical. Finance has increased exponentially in recent years. Many are individuals who prefer to invest in socially responsible companies. Although most studies review seem to confirm the hypothesis of a positive relationship between CSP and CFP, the methodologies and results are not homogeneous and cannot be generalized to all markets and sectors. In recent time, according to Soane, Professor Soane from Parma University, the correlation between corporate social performance and financial performance has been studied, investigating if and how corporate social responsibility leads to economic losses which finance or guarantee a competitive advantage. So we have the Global Compact with the 10 principles and the 17 SDG. The 10 principles of the UN Global Compact provide a common ethical and practical framework operationalizing corporate sustainability. Derived from UN declaration, these universal principles represent the fundamental values that business should embed in their daily strategy and operation. Another important literature takes an investor perspective and tries to understand how ESG and sustainable finance affect asset prices and portfolio return. The data show that ESG investing is more pervasive in Europe, but has also seen a rapid growth in the United States in recent years. A recent phenomenon is impact investing made by private equity investors who seek both financial return and the positive social and environmental impact. The 70 Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, have a different but apply related purpose for business. They represent aspirational long-term target for government, business, and other stakeholders to work towards creating the world we want. This is the claim. Together, the 10 principle, more the SDG, equip business with both the values and vision to help company make a meaningful contribution to people and the planet. An important issue within the impact investing is the measurement of social and environmental impact. ESG information, bear in mind that ESG information is considered in not financial category. In reality, the analysis of these documents is now complementary to traditional financial analysis. Moreover, institutional investors are now recognized alongside the multinational corporation as geopolitical stakeholder. Sustainability and the well-being of society are not an issue just at the heart of individual company, which as excellent citizens strive for a better future, but also at the heart of individual investors deciding to sustain and actively support this organization. Speaking about the environmental dimension, we can say that this dimension measures company impact on the natural ecosystem. This comprises, for instance, its emission, the efficient use of natural resources in production process, pollution and waste, as well as innovation effort to eco-design its products. The social dimension covers company relation with its workforce, customers, and society. The governance dimension is somewhat ambiguous term in the context of the CSR. Governance refers, firstly, on the one hand, to the traditional corporate governance, mechanism that makes management act in the best interest of its long-term shareholder. These include safeguarding shareholder rights, a well-functioning board, a well-designed executive compensation policy, and avoiding illegal practices such as fraud and bribery. On the other hand, in the context of the CSR, governance is often defined more narrowly to the diversity and inclusion, and hence the representation of the rights of minorities based on gender, on race, sexual orientation, on the board of directors and management, and in corporate processes. IIRC, the International Integrated Reporting Framework, is important. The content of the integrated report should focus on creating value and consider all capital present in the company: financial, human, infrastructural, organizational, and social capital. In my opinion, the most important capital is the human capital. More and more investors are looking at ESG to evaluate the risk and the opportunities associated with the companies they invest in. Common rule improve the completeness and transparency of information. The International Integrated Reporting Framework and the Integrated Thinking Principle have been developed and are used around the world in 75 countries to advance communication about value creation, preservation, and erosion. 75 countries. Integrated reporting aims to improve the quality of information available to providers of financial capital, promote a more cohesive and efficient approach to corporate reporting, enhance accountability and stewardship for the broad base of capitals, and promote understanding of their independencies, support integrated thinking, decision-making action that focus on the creation of value over the short, medium, and long term. Purpose. In my opinion, the purpose is a strategic asset of the company. The meaning of the word purpose is often summarized in the point at which one aims. In a broader sense, purpose is both the target and the gaze. Every company should have a purpose, even if its employees often do not remember it or cannot identify it. I often ask employees what the purpose of their company is. I do not always have answers. The assumption is that the rule of business is to maximize profit for shareholders. From my point of view, making money is not the purpose of the business. I can make money if I have a clear purpose and share it with my stakeholder. To maximize their positive impact on the social and environmental system in which they operate, companies must develop coherent CSR strategies. And we are at the triple bottom line: profit, planet, and people. Profit is important, and investors are important members of society, but they aren't the only member of society. Some consideration about profit. According to Professor Zamani, the COP ratio indicator highlights, even for non-experts, the distortion of the system, demonstrating how the indiscriminate increase in the salaries of top managers is derived from the logic of shareholder value and also hurt worker motivation. It is assumed that this job position derives from the person merit and the underlying ideology for which every form of promotion or assignment depends exclusively on the same as a result of talent and commitment. What is the right profit? If a company creates much value for shareholder by destroying a community or territory, is it creating a fair profit? Certainly not. Then we have people. Are people self-interested and motivated by money? Are there other motivating factors? What is the identity? The answer of this question is important because it expresses a different way of seeing the world and a different strategy to apply. It is better and easier to assume that people, at least for their work, are selfish and motivated by money, status, and power. Already in the 1950s, organizational model focused on how to motivate people. An investor does not just look at the idea, but the people. He often wants people to stay with the company. The person is still the main success factor of a company. Identity is profoundly linked to motivation, which can be intrinsic. You do it because you realize an ideal or a vocation, or extrinsic, for which the value is profit, and its maximization from which gets power, visibility, and much money. Then we have in the triple bottom light the planet. Protect and safeguard the planet. Avoid negative business externalities. Set up a strategy to reduce waste and apply a real circular economy. There are many things that can be done. Normally, the entrepreneur has an interest in protecting his territory. Today, we understand how important the territory of origin is to compete in the world. There are regions known worldwide, such as Silicon Valley, Tuscany, Bavaria, Bordeaux. These are places that are not only beautiful, but also full of businesses. The defense of the territory becomes strategic. For example, the environment is the common good par excellence, as is health care. In these and other areas, people should perceive themselves as members of the same community, valuing individual freedom and pursuing a collective goal based on shared value. The common good. In the St. Tommaso d'Aquino wrote about the common good in the Summa Theologica. In recent time, Rawls took up the concept of the common good by speaking of general conditions that are somehow to everyone advantage. According Luigino Bruni, we do not have a single market today, but we can identify 4 markets integrated into the economic system. The first is the economy of banking, insurance, and investment fund companies. The second, economy of family business. The third, a cooperative and social economy. We call this third sector. And the fourth is so-called collaborative capitalism of mutual benefit. Obviously, they have different objectives, ranging from profit to survival over time, from lack of profit to cooperation. The solution could be a responsibility that is able to integrate individual objectives with the purpose and the common good, which can reward rather than sanction. It should include rather than divide, deal with the outcomes of approaches or the consequences of behavior rather than just its achievement. The entrepreneur, bear in mind, is much more than his money, and we should start again from them to understand the rule of the company in the economic system, in which finance, which is speculative, prevails today. The entrepreneur is a solution to problem, a generator of new ideas and innovation, a creator of products and services, and the person who deals with society and territory from which he or she comes, in the awareness that one competes starting from it. Furthermore, the company is also a network of human relationship with other companies and stakeholders. The quality of the relationship is a fundamental element in motivating people. I believe an investor must know the entrepreneur and the company to understand how the business is done and how stakeholders perceive the company. So I want to close this speech by recalling how important is to understand the company's true purpose and the reason for existing. Thank you very much for your time.